People going into bathrooms with smartphones, cameras, claiming that they're transgender, and maybe they are, maybe they're not, and taking videos, and I really want to protect all of the students in the state of Michigan.
Well, that was the response and the fear during a meeting of the State Board of Education where they discussed the issue of transgender students and the bathrooms they're allowed to use. Welcome back to Let It Rip. With us right now is Brianne Campbell. She didn't set out to challenge the world, but in the process of finding herself, she also became a transgender activist. And she's now executive director of the Trans Sisters Color Project of Detroit. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Next to her, a member of the State Board of Education, Reverend Dr. Richard Ziley, is a longtime pastor, educator, but he thinks the current proposals miss the mark. Jim Ronstadt thinks they go too far. The state rep from White Lake wants children to use the bathroom that matches their gender. Period. End of discussion. And then there's Dr. Gerald Shiner, the psychiatrist, who's here to give us a scientific perspective of what our gender really means to our identity and also to our culture as well. And of course, as always, the fluid and dynamic Charlie Langton. All right, Brianne, most heterosexuals do not understand the choice you've made, what you've gone through, what you're going through. What was it like growing up for you? Was it difficult? Were you bullied? Were you threatened?
Wow. Well, actually, first, I want to say that transitioning wasn't a choice for me. This is like my life, and this is the life of a lot of people in this country. Growing up was really hard because I knew that I did not identify as someone who is supposed to be male from a very young age, but because of society and the way that masculinity is taught to people, those things were kind of forced on me. So I had to live this lifestyle in order to survive as a younger person. But once I got into adulthood and started to realize that I could live and be my true authentic self and be successful, I think that was the turning point for me that allowed me to realize that those were things that were put on me, and I didn't have to live up to this idea of like what my parents wanted me to be, what society wants me to be. I could be my own person. And I try to think that I do that in the best way without bothering anybody. And I think that's one thing I want like heterosexual people to understand, is that a lot of times we're just trying to live our lives. We're not really trying to like get into altercations with people. We're not really trying to like change people's minds, but we would like to be respected, and I think that everyone in the world wants to be respected.
Well, Reverend Zadi, I know that you love everybody as a pastor.
Certainly.
But I know that this is a difficult question, not only for society, for the church, and for the state of Michigan. How do you see it?
Well, love has to be based on truth, and our gender roles are based on our bodies. If there is a disjunction between our body and our gender role, that's going to lead to unhappiness, maybe even depression, apart from any kind of social disapproval that's there. You know, the gender role is developed by the society. You wouldn't let a surgeon go into the operating room unless he's got the credentials to show that he's got what it takes. In a similar way, if you claim you're one gender but your body says another, that's a question of truth. And to help people reconcile themselves to their bodies, the ones that they have from birth, is one of the human struggles that we all have. In that sense, LGBT people are not that different from other people. They have the same identity issues, coming to terms with social demands. Where can I assert my will? Where do I have to surrender to the needs of others? So I think if we approach it on that human level, we recognize that we have a lot of issues in common.
But Jim, you say this, it's clear cut. There's no real choice here. If you're born a man, you use the men's bathroom. If you're born a woman, you should use the women's bathroom.
Absolutely. In particular, what we're talking about here, to be quite frank, is schools. Just this week, we heard testimony, and I attended the testimony. Actually, I couldn't even get in the building. The committee room was full, the lobby was full, 150 people outside. Every single person I talked to was in opposition to this policy. The American College of Pediatrics has said that 98% of males and 88% of females who are gender confused before puberty eventually settle on the gender of their biology. So all of this the social engineering that is going on now is eventually going to iron itself out. But the schools want to insert themselves between the students and the parents. Their policy says to keep the parents in the dark about all these policies, such as an individual student determines by themselves what bathroom that they can use. And this is what's going on in North Carolina. It's going across the state. And police officers, and I pulled up a ton of stories about men dressing as women, going into women's shelters, college students going in, filming women in the showers. This is an atrocious policy, and it's causing problems all across the country in terms of safety of women.
But you know, I think that we are all governed by appearances. I want to show you guys two pictures. Now, take a look at these transgender people who use the bathroom of their choice. Here they are. Now, that is Bray Carnes on the left. She is a trans woman. She was born a man, but she chooses to be a woman. Michael Hughes there was born a woman, but by appearance looks like a man. And they say that it's a problem for them as well, because no one wants a woman like that going to the men's bathroom. No one wants somebody like that, Michael Hughes, going into the women's bathroom. Appearances, doctor, govern a lot of what we perceive.
They do. And to start, I want to underscore what Bree said. This isn't a choice. Gender identity is set between 18 and 24 months. And if there's a disconnect or a discord, there may be some nervous system imprinting that takes place, and that is pretty persistent. I don't know what you heard from the Academy of Pediatrics.
Right here. I've got it.
Paper never refused ink. Paper never refused
ink.
No,
I've seen it multiple studies.
Sure.
I'll give you the information.
The psychiatric literature clearly reflects that those gender identities, now some people may force themselves to live as their sex of assignment and their sex of rearing, but that causes significant dysphoria. You want to keep bathrooms safe, keep Dennis Hastert out of them, keep Jim Craig, senator from Wisconsin, who was busted in a bathroom. Keep those people out. Watch that man in Fowlerville who took an 11-year-old little girl into a bathroom. That's how you have to keep people safe. Yeah. But when people have a significant discord between their biology and who they feel they are, it's not a choice, and it's not an issue of dishonesty.
Charlie?
My understanding of federal law right now is that under federal civil rights law, you are allowed to choose what you have an absolute right. If you want to transgender, you have an absolute right to do that, and absolute right to use whatever bathroom you want.
Okay,
that's it.
But if that's true, let me show you another picture. This is a picture of a 240-pound man who believes that.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
But this is she. Why is that disrespectful when she insists that she
She's a
is
woman.
a woman?
She
now,
is a woman.
But,
and I think the difference is with heterosexual people, they feel as though that trans people have to look a certain type of way to be able to access bathrooms, and that's not true.
When she came into a bathroom at a gym, there was one woman who complained about it, and the woman's gym membership was canceled. I mean, do you understand it's difficult, Bree, for heterosexuals too? I'm not trying to minimize what you're going through, but understand that this is a seismic shift in the way we've been
using the bathroom. We've been using the bathroom without problems forever. This is the new. This is a.
So why didn't we need a law?
There were white people who were uncomfortable with people like you using the same bathroom that they did. That's why we have federal laws to protect us all. There were separate drinking fountains. That's draconic. That's medieval.
But so
that's not
is
who we
there
are
a compromise?
anymore.
Is there a way to have a unisex bathroom?
Here's the stall. When you go and just close the door, lock it.
Exactly.
Charlie, it's not so simple. There's always the reference, use the stall. The policy, the school policy says the student can determine what shower they can use. That means that the males can say, I am questioning my gender, and no one, the medical community, by the study, or the guidelines, the medical community, the parents and the school officials cannot refute this. The child determines the gender and can say, I'm questioning, I need to go into the girls' shower. So you think this is going to
allow boys to go into the bathroom with girls? And this is my only question.
This is the shower, not a stall, the shower.
If it happens, regardless of whether it's a trans person or a man, and they go into a bathroom and they assault people, what's going to happen? They should go to jail, right?
Arrest them.
They should be arrested.
I think teachers are smart enough to figure out who are the trans people and who are the criminals.
They cannot.
I think there's a big difference.
Charlie, they cannot by the guidelines make the determination. They cannot say you have to be wearing certain clothes. You have to have an elevated voice. You cannot, by the guidelines, the student determines the gender. End of story. That's the guy.
It's not the end of the
Very
story.
bad
It's
policy.
the
The State Board of Education is not going to make a final decision on this until August, but we will, of course, discuss it again. But stay with us, because Charlie is going to take this very question on the road when we return.
This must have been fun.
Which bathroom should a transgendered person go into? The one that they were born with or the one that they identify with?
Use the bathroom you feel comfortable with.
They should have stalls that go floor to ceiling and make it a one restroom for all students.
They should offer a unisex bathroom and then have a women's bathroom and a men's bathroom.
They identify as a woman, goes into your men's bathroom.
Yeah, it'll make me feel uncomfortable, especially if they still have the man parts.
If it was a man, like a man, like if I could tell, like if it was you coming in, I would be like,
If they entered and one of my children or grandchildren in there.
It's the schools that are talking about this right now. And how much freedom should transgendered people have in schools to do what they want to do?
Still somebody's personal. That's their personal business.
In our speciality, you have more or less chemical variants that create individuals according to biological functionary.
It's their own experiences. Let them identify how they wish.
You know you're changing yourself. You know people are going to be judgmental about it. You have to already be comfortable with it before you do it.
You cannot blame individuals who claim naturalistically.
So which bathroom? Which bathroom?
They own, baby.
It may make some people uncomfortable.
Do you feel comfortable if a woman
Would walk in the bathroom while I was using it. I would feel a little uncomfortable there.
I think they're going to go to the bathroom.
Jim, 10 seconds.
Well, obviously nobody wants anyone bullied. That's not even an issue here. This is a social engineering by the school board. They want to declare the parents are kept out of decisions such as boys being able to use locker rooms, showers, bathrooms with the girls. It's unacceptable.
Reverend.
It is not in the public interest to sever one's physical condition or sex from one's gender role. It is not in a child's interest to enable that separation. You wouldn't want a surgeon going into the operating room without the proper credentials. Our dress is an expression of who we are, and that includes our gender. Schools have a responsibility to teach this, to model it, and to present it in a positive way.
Brianne.
Trans women in this country have been slaughtered out in the streets, and if anyone needs protections in this country, it's trans people, especially trans youth. They need to be able to use a bathroom that's, one, comfortable for them, and two, that allows them to have some type of privacy throughout their transition, because that's a hard thing to do.
Dr. Shannon.
There's a big difference between a medical degree and a penis. You need a penis to get into a men's room? I don't think so. You need a medical
You need it
degree.
to use the urinal.
You need
I think that will end the discussion.
Wow.
We thank you for your comment.
I can't top that.
And thank you for watching this edition of Let It Rip.
The Let It Rip discussion continues online. Sound off on Facebook, Twitter, or fox2detroit.com.